Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope you're having a great day so far. First of all, let me start off today's YouTube live stream by saying congratulations to the EYO class of 2020. I know that many of you are getting to participate in graduation ceremonies this week. Most of us didn't think that those were going to happen and that you would have that opportunity. And as it turns out, here we are. And we're so thankful that you get the opportunity to have that graduation experience. And we're proud of our class of 2020. As you can imagine, we have been taking in a lot of information, doing a lot of research. Mrs. Bowes, Mr. Anderson, and I have been attending virtual town halls sponsored by the American String Teachers Association, the American Bandmasters Association, the Alabama Music Educators Association, which featured Dr. Eric Mackey, the superintendent of the Alabama schools, and many others to try to put the pieces in place to see what we can do to restart and get a final performance in. We are pleased that Governor Kay Ivey's Safer at Home order was amended today to allow for the opening of entertainment venues, theaters, museums, auditoriums, and of course, we fall into those categories. What that means is that the Music Center at Temple Beth Israel and the offices of the Etowah Youth Orchestras will reopen to the public, of course, with proper social distancing and sanitation guidelines on Monday, June the 1st at 9 a.m. Our public hours will be 9 to 12 and 1 to 4 Monday through Thursday, and 9 to 12 on Friday. Non-public hours will include the times that we will be in rehearsals, and yes, we have been given the go-ahead through Governor Ivey's order, the Alabama State Department of Health, and the Gadsden Cultural Arts Foundation Administration and Board of Directors to resume rehearsal activities for the Etowah Youth Orchestras. Now, between now and the time that rehearsals resume on Monday, June 1st, there's still a lot of work to be done by your EYO staff. Mr. Anderson, Mrs. Bowes, and I met today through a conference call to talk about the things that we need to start thinking about and the things that we're going to need to put into place. I want to share some of those with you today as we move forward. All of these things are safety provisions for our students to allow us to resume rehearsals. If you go to the EYO's Facebook page, our main public Facebook page, Etowah Youth Orchestras, you will also see studies that have been conducted in Berlin and Vienna dealing with aerosolization and transportation of aerosol particles. And there are also studies that are taking place at the University of Colorado in Boulder and Colorado State University in Fort Collins, and we'll be monitoring those carefully. So we're taking a lot of different things into consideration here. The first thing that we're going to take into consideration is the rehearsal schedule, and you'll excuse me if I have to revert to these as I look at my notes, but I have a lot of notes that we've taken here today in our conversations. The Cultural Arts Foundation has approved the reopening of our facilities effective Monday, June the 1st. But what we want to be able to do is spread our rehearsals out so that there is roughly a 48-hour window in between each rehearsal. Because of our opening date right now, that's not going to be possible for the first week. However, it will be possible in subsequent weeks. For the first week of rehearsals, which will be the week of technically May 31st, the Etowah Youth Symphony Orchestra will rehearse on Monday, June the 1st. The Etowah Youth Philharmonic Orchestra will rehearse on Tuesday, June the 2nd. And the Etowah String Sinfonia will rehearse on Thursday, June the 4th. Now, following the first week of rehearsals and for the next 2 weeks, the week of June 7th and the week of June 14th, we will go into an amended rehearsal schedule. Philharmonic will resume Sunday afternoon rehearsals beginning on June 7th. Rehearsals for the Youth Symphony Orchestra will move to Tuesday evenings beginning on June 9th. And rehearsals for the Etowah String Sinfonia will remain on Thursdays beginning June the 11th. And that will be for the week of June 7th and the week of June 14th. We will send you a schedule. Don't worry. We will send you a detailed schedule for all rehearsals. Now, as far as rehearsal times go, all rehearsals of the Etowah String Sinfonia will be from 4 to 5:30 p.m. The Sunday afternoon rehearsals of the Etowah Youth Philharmonic Orchestra will be at our regular rehearsal time from 2 to 4 p.m. The rehearsal on Tuesday, June the 2nd, will be from 6 to 8 p.m. For the Etowah Youth Symphony Orchestra, we need to amend the rehearsal schedule as far as the timing goes. And the reason we need to do that is because we can't take a break during those rehearsals because we will not have a place outside of a rehearsal hall in which to gather. And during that 15-minute break time, that's a gathering time. And we don't want to take a 2.5-hour rehearsal and not have a break there. So what that means is that the symphony orchestra rehearsals are going to switch to 2-hour rehearsals, straight through, no break. Now, we're not sure if we're going to do this from 6 to 8 p.m. or 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. We're going to put a poll up on both the musicians' Facebook page and the parents' Facebook page asking for your opinion as to what time you would like those rehearsals to take place. But note that it will be a 2-hour symphony rehearsal. Now, where will the rehearsals be held? We're not sure of that just yet, because when we return to the office, we'll be closed to the public, but when we return to the office on Tuesday, May 26th, the first thing we need to do is measure the space in the rehearsal hall. Dr. Mackey put this into very practical terms for us. He said every student needs 36 square feet of dedicated space. We've been talking about this 6-foot social distancing, but it was nice for Dr. Mackey to define more clearly what that means. I don't think any of us had thought of it in terms other than linear space. But when we talk about the 6-foot social distancing and we talk about square footage, each student needs 36 square feet of space, each student and the conductor. There will be no more than 50 people in the room at the time. The question is, in the rehearsal hall at the music center, can we get 50 people, actually 48 for symphony rehearsals, which includes me, into the area and allow everybody to have 36 square foot of space. We've got to figure that out. We've got to measure that. We've got to make sure we can do it. If we can't do it, then we're going to move all rehearsals of all ensembles to the Mary G. Hardin Center for Cultural Arts. But know that that's a backup plan, and that for right now, as it stands, the rehearsals will take place at the Music Center. So, what will we be doing at the Music Center to safeguard your students? Number one, students who are not driving themselves will be picked up and dropped off only. There will be no waiting area for parents or siblings. It will strictly be a pickup and drop off system. And the only people who will be allowed to utilize the facility will be members of the ensembles. If you're a student who is driving yourself, you know where to park. We are going to have students entering one at a time. The only door that you may access will be the 8th Street entrance for the building. The door on the backside of the building that enters the fellowship hall by the kitchen area will be locked, and you will not have access to that door. You may still park in the lot behind the building, but you will have to access the building through the 8th Street door. Again, we will be taking you in one at a time through the 8th Street door. When you come inside the building, the first thing that will be happening is your temperature will be checked with a no contact thermometer. If you are cleared, then you will be allowed to go to the next step, where somebody will give you a squirt of hand sanitizer in your hands, and you will scrub it down, and then you will proceed immediately into the rehearsal hall to your designated 36 square feet of space. If you're dropping a student off, you may begin your drop-off 30 minutes prior to the start of rehearsal. When you pick that student up, they must be picked up 15 minutes after the conclusion of the rehearsal. Please make sure to make transportation arrangements accordingly. Again, there will be no waiting area. Students will not be allowed to access the fellowship hall, the instrument storage rooms, the library, the kitchen, or the staff offices. The vending machines will be disconnected, and they will not be able to be used while you are in the building for the time being. There will be no sharing of music stands, including string players. Everyone will have their own music stand. Everything will be cleaned and sanitized following each rehearsal prior to another group coming in. We will not be loaning instruments, so please don't forget your instrument, because we cannot loan you an instrument. Yes, we have them in the inventory. No, we cannot loan them. Percussionists. We will be taking any instruments that will not be needed for the repertoire for the concert out of the rehearsal hall, moving them into the fellowship room, the fellowship hall, and you will not be able to access those instruments. We will only have the instruments that will be needed for these rehearsals and this repertoire. Percussionists, please look at the musicians' Facebook page. We have asked you some very specific information. We need to know what music you have in your folder for the 4 specific pieces, because percussion players, for these rehearsals, you will not be moving from instrument to instrument. Your instruments will be designated and you will be playing the same instruments throughout the duration of these rehearsals. That means if you're the timpani player in the symphony on one piece, you will be the timpani player in the symphony on every piece. And we will be making those assignments. But we need the information requested from you, percussionists, as to which parts you have in your folders right now for all of the music. Percussion players also, you need to have your own stick bag. You need to have it labeled with your name on it. We will not be providing certain sticks and mallets. Now, we're not going to ask you to buy bass drum beaters. We're not going to ask you to buy a gong beater. We're not going to ask you to buy things of that nature. But we are going to ask you to have your own drumsticks, and we may ask you to have your own timpani and keyboard mallets. That's just important. And it's important for you as percussionists anyway to have that equipment. We will have more details on the percussion equipment, but percussionists, again, help us out by getting us that information that we requested. Bring your folder. There will be no sharing of folders, and EYO staff will not be able to retrieve copies of music for you. You must have your folder. Woodwind players. I know that the first thing that you want to do when you finish rehearsal is clean and swab your instruments out, put them in the case, take them home, clean them there. We do not want you cleaning and swabbing instruments in the rehearsal hall. Sanitary reasons, sanitary purposes. Brass players, we're going to have to address how we're going to handle the emptying of the slides and the spit valves. We are probably going to have some type of absorbent material on the floor in your area that will need to be taken out after each rehearsal. We're going to figure out the best course of action for that. Woodwind players also, if you get air bubbles and you have that tendency to want to take the instrument and blow those out, we're going to provide you with rice paper that you can insert, tap the key down, and get rid of the bubbles that way. The spit bubbles that accumulate. We're gonna get you the rice paper that you'll need for that, because we don't want you blowing those things out. Everybody needs to be comfortable making their own page turns. We can facilitate copies as needed, but again, especially string players, it's going to be everybody on their own stand. You're going to be responsible for making your own page turns. String players, no sharing of rosin. Bring your own rosin. If you do not have rosin, this is an ideal time to get some, but no sharing of rosin, please. Sinfonia members, for the first rehearsal, we're going to have to get your instruments tuned up. We have a plan and we have protocol. It involves gloves and masks for the staff, but we're going to need to make sure those instruments are in tune. Sinfonia members, we are asking that you arrive early. The venue will be open for you by 3:30 for your first rehearsal on Thursday, the 4th of June, so we can get your instruments tuned. Last thing, and this thing seems like a thing that, it's one of those things now that we have to address because we just have to address it. Restrooms. We're going to open up both the staff restroom and the student restroom in the music center for your use. Now, we advise use the restroom before you come to rehearsal, because if you do use the restroom in the facility, you're going to be responsible for wiping down any surface you touch. There will be wipes provided. There will be hand sanitizer provided. We will have all the cleaning supplies that we need, but keep in mind, you're going to be responsible for wiping down after you use it, and we're going to have to do the one at a time thing. We can't have people just getting up in the middle of rehearsal and wandering out and wandering back in. So bear that in mind. There's a lot of stuff there. It's a lot of rules. It's a lot of things that we don't generally think about and worry about. But the good news is it's going to allow us to get back into rehearsal and get together and make music again and practice and perform again. And we are excited about that. I can't tell you how excited we are to be able to do this. We're going to do it safely. We're going to do it smart and right. And we're going to take care of you while you're there. And parents, we're going to take care of your students while they're there. We're going to put more of this information together. We're going to get information for you about the performance, because at this point in time, we still have some uncertainty there. Obviously, we wouldn't be going back into rehearsal if we weren't working toward a performance of some kind. We just don't know yet exactly what the details of that are going to be. We're going to be working through that with the Cultural Arts Foundation staff next week when we get back together. I know that from our poll on the Parents Facebook page, I know that there are some of you who still have concerns about your student returning to rehearsal. I understand that. Mr. Anderson understands that. Mrs. Bose understands that. We all understand that. Hopefully, between now and the time rehearsals commence, things will continue to get better, and we'll see more of a downward turn, and everybody's comfort level will be a little bit better. But in regards to your involvement with the EYO and participation for next year, nobody's going to get punished for any circumstance. We just want to get back together and make music and have our students active and performing again. We want to have a final performance for our class of 2020, even if it's a live stream performance, even if we're just performing for ourselves. We want to have a final performance for the class of 2020. We want to wrap the season. Parents, students, if you have concerns, please, please, please contact me directly. Contact me via Messenger, via email, via Remind. It doesn't matter how you contact me, but reach out to me directly. I want to talk to you, to hear your concerns. They are not falling on deaf ears, believe me. Contact Mr. Anderson, contact Mrs. Bose, contact any of us, and we will be happy to talk with you and talk everything through. That's what we've got for today. So in the next week, anticipate getting more information from us. A firm determination on what the rehearsal venue will be. More information on rehearsal procedures and policies in the rehearsal schedule. And following up with information regarding the performance. Again, if you have questions, please do contact us. In the meantime, have a fantastic weekend, and we look forward to seeing you at the Music Center very, very soon.